Okay, hey Unbothered family. I hope everyone is blessed today. I wanted to do a long form video specifically for YouTube concerning the previous video that I put out earlier saying that ancient Egypt was in America. Okay, hear me out. Now, when you're discussing ancient Egypt, the focus has to be on the Nile River system of the White Nile and the Blue Nile, which is allegedly the longest river in the world at 4,132 miles long. However, when you combine the Mississippi River of the Missouri River and the Mississippi, you will have a total length in miles of 4,890, which is 758 miles longer than the Nile River system that is in Africa. Yes, the Mississippi system is the longest, which is a strong indication that it was your first Nile River system. Now, you have to understand we're talking about the Egypt of the Bible. So I'm going to be referring to Bible verses, right? The first one is in the book of Isaiah, 11:15, King James Version. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. Notice the seven streams that flow in the mouth of the Egyptian Sea, the Gulf of Mexico. In ancient times, the Gulf of Mexico was known as the Egyptian Sea. In the book of Isaiah 11:15, Bible proves that as factual. Additional clues can be found with a quick study of the etymology of the name Missouri. Now, you need to learn that it's just a corruption of Misraim. Who was Misraim? Well, Misraim, according to the King James Version of the Bible, was the son of Ham, and he was the younger brother of Cush, and the elder brother of Phut. And Canaan are the Phoenicians, whose families together made up the Hamite branch of Noah's descendants. According to the Wikipedia, Misraim means Egypt. Now, this is a quote. It's basically going on to say that the Hebrew and Aramaic name for the land of Egypt with the dual suffix am, perhaps referring to the two Egypts, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. That's what they mean by two Egypts. So Misraim is the dual form of Matzor, meaning a mound or a fortress, the name of a people descended from Ham. It was the name generally given by the Hebrews to the land of Egypt and its people. Neo-Babylonian texts use the term Mizraim for Egypt. Now, notice in the quote that I had just stated, I put emphasis on the word mound, meaning pyramids, because the Wichita Moors were known as the mound builders and the ancient ones, and are the oldest indigenous people on the planet, according to the United Nations. You have mounds all over the Americas, but especially up and down the Mississippi River. In fact, you have so many mounds built along the Mississippi River that academics name the people that built them the Mississippi Mound Builders. This is a significant fact because mounds are associated with Mizraim, which is Egypt, according to the quote that I just said. You have virtually no mounds in Africa. Therefore, the sheer number of mounds in the Americas and pyramids is a strong indication that the Americas is Mizraim, aka Egypt. Now, pyramids are a symbol of Atlantis. According to the book Atlantis, the Antediluvian world, the Ignatius Donnelly, the pyramids, Not only are the cross and the Garden of Eden identified with Atlantis, but in Atlantis, the habitation of the gods, we find the original model of all these pyramids, which extend from India to Peru. I must note that North America, Asia Major, and India Superior, by itself, has more pyramids than all of Africa combined. Now, if we include all of the Americas, that's North, South, and Central, then it is not a contest anymore as far as who has the most pyramids. Now, this was presented in Volume 1 of a book called America is the True Old World. However, the book sample by itself that the Americas is Atlantis because it is way more pyramids in the Americas than in Africa is definitely there. Now, another clue that North America is Lower Ancient Egypt is the Egyptian place names of cities along the Mississippi, like Memphis, Tennessee, Cairo, Illinois, Thebes, Illinois, Karnak, Illinois, and Egypt, Georgia. Illinois has a huge territory of land in southern Illinois that is known as Little Egypt. But why? Could it be because that area was once Little Egypt? I believe so because the Americas is the true old world. In fact, I believe this to be true and factual because the author states that his mother is named Eugene. Therefore, Eugene by birth, so the same reasonings applies to cities or places by names. Now, this individual was always taught that if you created or founded a person, place, thing, or an ideal, and you gave it a name, that's what it is called. So, evidence to support the said place names is already given above in the chapter that is listed. But we do have more evidence with the ancient Egyptian artifacts found in Richard County, Illinois by Russell E. Burroughs in 1982. The find is nicknamed the Burroughs Cave, named Burroughs after its founder. However, mainstream academia dismisses the find as a hoax because the find does not fit in with the current narrative of the Americas being a new and uncivilized world first discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1492. The interesting thing about Illinois is that it was named after the Illini tribe, which was part of the Illinois Confederation. The Illinois Confederation was composed of 12 to 13 tribes. Illini means best people or tribe of superior men. This is also where the term the Illuminati comes from. Yes, the Moors were the first illuminated ones. Now, the Old Testament map shows you the state of Texas as being designated as ancient Egypt. I believe that Texas was ancient Egypt, since Texas has a town called Egypt, Texas. In addition, Texas also has a Nile, Texas, which is extinct, but it used to exist according to the 1907 map of Milam County, Texas, that was shared in the writer's previous blog. Now Texas was circled on a map in 1907 for viewing and convenience, which you'll see going across your screen. Now, additionally, Texas has a Karnak, Texas, which was named after Karnak, Egypt, because of Karnak's alignment with the city of Port Cado, was similar to Karnak and Thebes in ancient Egypt. Karnak is a rural, unincorporated community in northeastern Harrison County near Caddo Lake in the eastern region of the U.S. state of Texas. The town is named after Karnak, Egypt, near modern-day Luxor. It was thought that the community's alignment with the city of Port Cado was relative to that of Karnak and Thebes. Lake Caddo is one of the largest natural lakes in the southeast at 25,400 acres, and it is akin to the Nile River in Egypt due to its alignment with Karnak, Texas. Nile is a Greek word, which means great river. Could the city of Port Caddo be the biblical Thebes? Yes, very possible, because the alignment matches that of Thebes and Karnak in Egypt. Texas also has a Palestine, Texas, and a Lebanon, Texas, both of which are biblical cities that are heavily associated with ancient Egypt and the children of Israel, aka the Israelites. Now, it was also mentioned Palestine, Texas, and Lebanon, Texas, because both biblical places are close to ancient Egypt, if you look at them on a modern or an old map of the Middle East region. Palestine in the so-called East is near ancient Egypt and has been the subject of a lot of wars, located at the junction of Egypt, Syria, and Arabia, and being the birthplace of Judaism and Christianity. The region has a tumultuous history as a crossroads for religion, culture, commerce, and politics. It has been controlled by numerous peoples, including ancient Egyptians, Canaanites, Israelites, and Judeans, Assyrians, Babylonians, ancient Greeks, the Jewish Hasmonean Kingdom, Romans, Byzant. It's been owned by a lot. Now, the boundaries of the region have changed throughout history. Today, the politically defined region comprises the states of Israel and Palestine. Lebanon, Texas is interesting because of the biblical Lebanon's association with ancient Egypt, and it is framed giant cedars of Lebanon, aka the cedars of God. Lebanon, Texas is now extinct, but it once did exist. Okay, you can find that out in Wikipedia, right? Now you can read more about biblical Lebanon by reading a blog post called Old Canaan in the New World, which demonstrates that America is the true old world and that the biblical Lebanon was in Lebanon, Oregon. The interesting thing about Texas, though, is that it has 5 Egyptian place names, which suggests that Texas was the biblical ancient Egypt. Here are the 5 Egyptian places names in Texas: Egypt, Texas, Egypt, Lean County, Texas, Egypt, Montgomery, Texas, Egypt, Wharton County, Texas, and Little Egypt, Texas in Dallas County. Ancient Egyptian corn was referring to Egypt, Texas in North America, since corn is indigenous only to the Americas, and since Texas is still a large producer of corn to this day. I am not the only one to think this, since other scholars agree that Genesis 42:1-3 is referring to Texas, Egypt. Egypt's 1827 name change from Mercer's Crossing came from the Bible and originated from the text of Genesis 42:1-3. Okay? Are you following me? Now, please avoid the hijack, because the town of Egypt, Texas was always named that, since Mercer's Crossing is nowhere on any of the old maps of Wharton County, Texas. Now, the biblical text 42:1-3 referred to in this paragraph, and as you can see, Jacob told his sons to go to Egypt to buy corn, right? Now let's read 42:1. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. Now, if it can be proven that the biblical Jacob is from North America, that will be the icing on the cake, since that means that Jacob told his sons to go to Egypt, Texas in North America to buy corn, and not Egypt in North Africa. The biblical Jacob, or Saint Jacob, is from Jacob, Illinois, since Jacob, Illinois was named after Saint Jacob's. Jacob, Illinois is even nicknamed God's country, which indicates that Jacob, Illinois used to be a very spiritual place, or what you would call a promised land or a holy land. We also have a St. Jacob, Illinois. They call this town a village now. But what was it in the past? I believe this village was part of Israel, or the Holy Land, since Jacob became Israel, according to Genesis 35:10, King James Version, which means that anything with the name of Jacob was great or chosen amongst God. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. Most scholars and theologians both agree that the Garden of Eden and the Old World was in the East, Middle East. I agree with the East being the Old World, but where is the real Far East? Now, there's a blog called The Old World is the New World that gives you an image of the original compass before the compass, and the maps were flipped to deceive the world. Now, since the Americas is the Far East, the true Old World, the Americas is also the land of the Bible, which means that the biblical Jacob and all regions come from the Americas. Now, when discussing any civilization, whether it be modern or ancient, the focus must always be on a huge source of fresh water for agricultural purposes, because without food, there is no civilization or life. Ancient Egypt thrived as a civilization because of tech and because of the Nile River, which produced fertile lands necessary for agriculture along the Nile due to slit deposits. The Amazon is the largest and widest body of fresh water in the world, with a length of 4,000 miles long, allegedly. I said allegedly because some scientists argue that the Amazon is also the longest river in the world, if you add in the adjacent Para estuary and the longest connecting tidal canal. Yes, due to the size of the Amazon River, it fits the description of being the Upper Nile River, because the Lower Nile River was the Mississippi River, which makes sense too if we apply the supreme axiom of as above, so below. Now, guys, I am going to do a part 2 on this because I know that many of you have short attention spans. So I'm going to do a part 2 on this. This is basically a continuation of the Black nobility family. It goes very, very deep, so I'm going to put up as much information as possible. I'll only be doing my long form videos here, and my short term videos will be, like on TikTok or whatever. So just let me know if you have any questions, any comments, any information to add, anything that you would like to dispute. Also, I will have the author's name up here because I am not the author of this. This is someone else's research, and I will make sure that I put this in the description box, and I will also have his name in the credits so you guys can definitely give him his flowers. All right. Other than that, I'm out.